Well, so you're going to get a treat this week because I've been sitting here with my friends from Karl Strauss. Paul and Chad have joined me. Since we didn't get to do a beer on Monday, we're doing 2 beers today for a Friday. We're actually going to do a bonus YouTube-only beer that you get to experience right now. And then we'll get into the normal stuff as we roll into another... Ooh, excuse me. Maybe I've had a little bit of warm-up beers. We'll get into what we're going to drink for a Friday, but this is interesting. Follow the Sun is what we're going to try right now. It's a blonde ale. Okay, yep. So blonde ale is one of the most ambiguous categories out there.
It really is.
Literally, if you don't know what to call it and it's light-colored, call it a blonde ale.
Yep. So, it's very close to Pilsner, but it's made with ale yeast. Right. And it's really something that we make because there's still a huge market for this type of beer. In our brew pubs, and we've got 8 of them, people come in and say, give me your lightest beer. Right. And some people, I don't know how it is or how it can be, but they're not craft beer drinkers, and they just want something close to a mass-produced beer. And this is our answer to them. This is something that can go in front of them and they are not going to be disappointed. This is something that pairs with a lot of foods. It's very drinkable.
Yep. You don't get that hop profile, hop bomb, some people call it, coming across from this. It's a very light, crushable beer. You can drink it with anything on any day and have a few of them and be fine.
All right. So, I want to go back to where you started with this, Paul, because I might have had a mass-produced beer at a pig roast this weekend.
Okay.
Because the beer that I brought, everybody drank. Beyond that, when you give someone who likes those beers this blonde ale, does it blow their mind with the amount of flavor that you get?
Well, thank you for saying that. Because, just because it's a blonde ale doesn't mean it can't have flavor. Right? This has a lot of great bready, toasty, cracker-like malt flavor, but it's also got this really nice sturdy backbone of hops in there.
The goal of craft is to make beers that are interesting, right? And I think that no matter what the style is, you can make a beer interesting in every single style. It just takes a lot more work. To get it there. And I think this is a great example of that. You look at it, it looks like every other mass-produced beer that you see out there, but you try it, and you're like, that has so much more flavor and interest than any other mass-produced beer I've tried.
Great point. Like, it's interesting enough and complex enough for craft beer drinkers to appreciate, but it's also, like, pedestrian enough for... the uninitiated to enjoy.
Yeah, totally.
I imagine the uninitiated just think this is like the most flavorful thing they've ever had. Because honestly, the other one is like it's like sex in a canoe. It's near water.
Yep.
And this actually has body. It has flavor. It's rewarding to drink. I don't feel like I'm just putting empty calories in my body to get the 4.8% alcohol that's in those. This is an experience. This is enjoyable, but I still don't have to think about it. It just, the flavor hits you wave after wave, and you go, yeah, I want to have another one of these.
This reminds me of that old commercial, like I think it was Beck's Light, where you've got all these German brewmasters kind of sitting around and go, well, nobody told us it wasn't supposed to have flavor. Beck's made a light beer, and it had toast and all the, the same bready stuff going on. And that was kind of in our thoughts as we're going to make a blonde ale, but nobody told us it doesn't have to have flavor.
And a lot of people call this their lawnmower beer, right? When it's hot out, they want something that's refreshing that they can drink and take care of their yard or do whatever they're doing. This is the perfect beer for that. It doesn't blow your palate out. It doesn't have a ton of ABV or alcohol in it. And it's one you can have a few of. And
for that reason, I've got it in my fridge at home
all the time.
Because it's been warm. It's been a warm summer.
It has been warm. Yeah.
I wish I would have had this in my fridge this last weekend. I might have taken this to the pig roast. Man, this is really damn good. I honestly, usually when I see you guys, I'm reaching for Red Trolley. I'm reaching for Rohapi Alice. When it's Oktoberfest season, I'm reaching for that.
We brought some extras. You can take it home for this coming weekend.
Exactly.
I was going to say, you're reading my mind. You're not leaving with whatever else you brought.
We don't want to carry all that out. That stuff's heavy.
Hey, that's my job.
All good.
There's a reason I parked close to the building today.
Smart. Those carpool spots.
Oh man, that is really good. I look forward to enjoying some of that. And is it only in the bottles?
Yep, and in draft at a lot of places.
We have some cans out there at certain venues across San Diego, but for the most part, it's in bottles. And what's interesting, to Paul's point, best-selling beer at our brew pubs, not the best-selling beer we make. So interesting.
That's kind of mind blowing.
Isn't that weird? Right? When you look at this and you look at this style and you mentioned your barbecue that you went to or wherever you're going to go, so many people are like, just give me your lightest style, right? They don't want to necessarily have an IPA, or they're maybe not into a red ale category or something like that. So at our brew pubs, where we're in our own little microcosm, people come in, ask for the lightest beer. This is the lightest beer that we make. And to your point, many times they're blown away and they're like, whoa, I didn't have a beer like that before. And their friends might be ordering IPAs or whatever. But this is a very competitive category. So also hard to get into, a little bit commoditized, but still a great beer.
So when are we getting 19.2s of this?
Actually, next year. Funny you say that. Totally funny you say that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Because the first thing I thought of, you said lawnmower beer, and I don't have a lawn. So I'm either floating in my pool and I need a big beer, or I'm at a concert and I want a big 19.2 so I don't have to go back to the beer line.
Yeah, come back next year and we will be talking about that. But I'll tell you what, I'll come to your pool, you mow my lawn. How's that?
No.
Not a fair
I
trade.
don't like that trade-off.
Dang it. I'll bring Follow the Sun. Come on.
Well, we're coming up on our Friday segment. Should we pour out some Tower X IPA and,
let's
and
go
get
for
to
it.
it? So yeah, now we're getting to the actual meat and potatoes. I wanted to start a little early so I could have a beer with them and you could see that and know that there's some good stuff coming on the way. Now we're getting into the Tower X IPA.
It's okay that you said Tower 10. We'll explain that.
Yeah, I want to get the backstory behind this because I think there's some meat on the bone.
X is a
there.
Roman numeral for 10.
Yes, 100%.
I'll do the backstory while you guys are pouring beer if you want.
Actually, hold
All
on
right.
because I actually want to have that on the air and not just on the YouTube because we have about 45 seconds.
Are we going to do the song?
We are doing X Wild Thing. Oh yeah, because you had picked
Weezer.
Follow the Sun. So if you want a song pairing of your own when you have Follow the Sun, Weezer's Island in the Sun.
Weezer's Island in the Sun, man. Love that song. Such a good vibe.
Did you ever see Out Cold? It was a snowboarding movie that came out like 15 years ago. It had
no.
Zach Galifianakis in it.
Yep.
Every time I
yeah.
hear Weezer Island in the Sun, I will always think of that because that was a song he hated because that was the song he made out to with the girl he met in Mexico.
Ah, well, I mean, we've all been there.
And then she left him high and dry. And there's a whole story behind that. But you know what? That's your job this weekend. Go watch that movie if you can find it.
Yep.
Yeah, if you can find it. Yeah, that's true.
I'm probably one of the 10 people that has bought it on
Is it on Netflix?
iTunes.
Oh,
No.
iTunes. Okay.
God, no.
Wow. Yeah.
I might have just watched it in the last week. All
I
right,
love
here we go.
Zach
We're coming up on
Galifianakis.
time.
Okay.
Here it is, Friday, and we're ending with the more delicious hoppiness from our friends from Karl Strauss as Paul and Chad have joined me to wrap up this nice short week. Yeah, I see you with your nose in the
Yeah,
glass.
man.
So I have yet to try this. And I'm curious because it has the Tower on it.
Yep.
I've seen that before from you guys.
Yep.
This is your Tower X IPA.
Yep. So we had a beer called Tower 10.
Yep.
And Tower 10 is a nod to where our two founders, Matt and Chris, had an apartment in South Mission Beach right next to the Tower 10 lifeguard station. You know, right after they were roommates together at Stanford Business School, and they lived together in South Mission, and they threw a football around on the beach while they were coming up with a business plan for Karl Strauss Brewing Company. So that's really Tower 10 is kind of our roots as a brewery. And so this Tower X thing was, Tower 10 was an old school beer, man. It used a lot of the C hops, right? The pine and the grapefruit. So we kind of revamped the recipe. We used some newer hops in this. It's got some Sultana and some Citra. We still have a couple of the C hops in there, Centennial and Cascade.
I was going to say, I'm getting a presented grapefruitness on the back end.
Yeah. It's got that old school, like there's a little bit of old school in there, but it's also got some new tropical flavors going on.
I'm getting that mix. You know what it's reminded me of? If you've had Tom Nichols' Cheat Sheet IPA, which kind of balances in between the tropicality and the bitterness of the older style West Coast IPAs. This is kind of in there. It's light in color. It's got this real beautiful tropical nose, but on that back end, as you drink it, you get that substantial bitterness that reminds you you're drinking a West Coast style IPA.
It's aggressive on the hops, and it's very West Coast IPA.
But also not as malty as Tower 10.
Right.
So this is a much drier beer compared to the Tower 10 that we had. Those that are listening are familiar with that beer.
Right.
This is a much more modern version, a modern take on a West Coast IPA. So you get that San Diego tropicalness coming across with the West Coast style C hops. Perfect balance.
Right. You hit the nail on the head. Old school West Coast IPAs had that they had some caramel malts going on, and there was like a little bit of residual sugar. we dry this out a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's dry on the back end, and you know what it asks for after that sip? Another sip.
Right. But 7.3? Did you expect that?
Whoa!
Right?
Hold on. No.
It doesn't drink like that.
Wait a minute. It does not drink like 7.3.
He's looking at the can.
There it is. I mean, they're not lying. There it is. It's 7.3.
This, as Paul would say, it's a sniper. Like,
yeah.
legit.
Good eye, sniper. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, you managed to pick the right beer for a Friday,
I'm
sir.
very flattered that you said each sip leaves you wanting another one.
Oh,
and
ultimate.
each beer leaves you wanting another. And for me, like historically, I've been doing this for 30 years now. That is a sign of a well-made beer. So anytime somebody says that about one of our beers, I'm like, thank you.
It's probably the biggest compliment you can give a brewer, right?
Yeah.
Because when we sit here and we make these beers and we go through tasting panels, the goal is, would you want another one? And if the answer is yes, then we're on to something. If the answer is hard no, then we go back to the drawing board.
Then we just scrap it.
I'm actually drinking this faster so I can get another one before we wrap up the
we
segment.
brought plenty.
Yeah, we got more. It's okay. Don't worry.
Gentlemen, well done on this
Cheers.
Tower X IPA
Thanks,
from Karl
man.
Strauss.
Happy
You guys-
short week. Thank you for having us in.
Yeah.
Thanks for making the trip, and we have one more song to wrap it up with, and I think you nailed it with the X tie-in.
I go back with this band, man.
Let's go. Come
LA
on. Lay it
band
on
from
me.
X. Wild Thing by X.
So good, so good. Well, you've had it, you've heard it, you've seen it. You need to try it. It is absolutely freaking delicious, and man, I'm gobsmacked. I wish I would have tried this sooner because it really lives a life between those two styles.
Yeah, it's very different than Aurora, right? When you look at the San Diego style IPA and then you bring this one in, they're very different beers, but they're both great.
And that was by intention, by design. Like we really wanted to separate this, in aroma and flavor from Aurora.
Yeah, you don't want two your flagship IPAs cannibalizing each other.
Right. But we also
Man.
wanted to have it stand on its own as a really delicious beer.
So try it for yourself. Next week, I have no idea because I haven't sent it. Oh, wait, I do. I just don't remember who it is right now. Sorry. See you later.